to Woman of the Hour, Caitlin Clark, earlier this morning to compete in the Annika driven by Cambridge Pro-Am for the second back at the Annika, mixing it up with the best on the LPGA, including Nelly Korda.
After battling through the most relentless, most aggressive defense the WNBA has ever seen, a defense that left her missing half a season with nagging injuries, Caitlin Clark made her triumphant return to competition, but her comeback didn't happen on the familiar squeaking hardwood of an Indiana arena.
Sophie Cunningham and Lexie Hull in caddy bibs, serving as honorary caddy, out with fans and kids to watch one of the biggest names in all of sports playing the game we love, and we will follow along.
She was out on the fairway in the sun-drenched calm of the LPGA Annika Pro-Am, trading three-pointers for tee shots, hitting bombs alongside Olympic gold medalist Nelly Korda. This return to the golf course, marking her second consecutive appearance at the event, was not just a celebrity vacation. It was a strategic, soft re-entry into the spotlight. It was her moment to publicly affirm her recovery, a visual declaration to the sports world that she was, in her own words, back to 100%. This positive update, delivered during an interview aired on the Golf Channel, was critical. It set a baseline of physical well-being, creating a stark, necessary contrast with the relentless, borderline violent physicality she endured during the WNBA season. This period of calm, recovery, and leisure was essential for framing the chaos to come, and crucially, she wasn't alone. Standing right there beside her, wearing matching custom caddy bibs, were her Indiana Fever teammates, Sophie Cunningham and Lexie Hull, serving as her honorary caddies. This was more than just a fun outing. It was a deliberate, powerful image of unity. Cunningham and Hull showed up in perfect matching fever fits, a visual statement directly contradicting the dominant media narrative, suggesting that Clark is an isolated figure, disliked or resented by her peers. In a league often characterized by simmering tensions and public feuds, this genuine, light-hearted camaraderie was a powerful counter-narrative. Cunningham, ever the character, jokingly confirmed her caddy bib had pockets for snacks, maybe a beer. This visible, easygoing interaction is essential for contextualizing the severity of the on-court aggression she faces, proving that the team environment itself is supportive, even if the surrounding league landscape is fiercely hostile. This Pro-Am appearance provided the perfect visual hook, a moment of unscripted chaos that instantly went viral. On the 10th hole, her teammate and honorary caddy, Sophie Cunningham, was given the honor of taking a turn swinging Clark's driver. She winds up, screams something about the classic Happy Gilmore technique, and then proceeds to send the ball hurtling directly into the gallery. A patron went down. Cunningham, horrified, rushed over, but the incident was contained immediately. The fan was fine, got a hug, and received a souvenir as compensation. Chaos. The most dangerous thing Clark faced all week was a teammate with a golf club. This hilarious, unpredictable event serves as a comedic, humanizing foil, a moment of genuine, uncalculated danger that stands in stark opposition to the calculated, deliberate hostility Clark encounters every time she steps onto the WNBA court. But the light-hearted narrative ends abruptly here, because this is the moment we stop talking about golf and start talking about the money. This is the moment we introduce the Caitlin Clark effect, the overwhelming financial phenomenon that provides the motive, the justification, and the context for why she is the league's greatest, most relentlessly targeted asset. You cannot divorce the intense, continuous physicality Clark endures from her unprecedented economic value. The sheer magnitude of her financial influence establishes the motive for the alleged jealousy and sets the high-stakes backdrop for why the league's response to these hard fouls is under such heavy, relentless scrutiny. This surge in popularity redefined commercial expectations the second she declared for the draft. The 2024 WNBA Draft, the event where the Indiana Fever selected her first overall, did not just break viewership records, it shattered them, averaging a staggering 2.45 million viewers. Let that number sink in. 2.45 million. This figure did not just represent the most-watched WNBA draft in history. It ranked as the most-watched WNBA telecast of any kind since the year 2000. For 2 decades, no WNBA broadcast had commanded that kind of audience, underscoring that Clark isn't merely an incremental draw, she is a universal, generational draw. She captures the casual viewer, the curious observer, the dedicated sports fanatic, and the pop culture consumer, an audience that historically has not tuned into the league. Her professional debut maintained this trajectory without losing a single step. The Fever's first regular season game against the Connecticut Sun became the most-watched WNBA game since 2002 and set records for the most-watched game ever recorded on ESPN2 or any similar cable network. A lot of has abdation the all lies. This was not a fluke. A subsequent game against the New York Liberty went on to set the league's ABC viewership record with $1.71 million viewers, demonstrating her undeniable ability to perform as a primetime draw on network television, the most valuable real estate in sports broadcasting. The trend was consistent, stable, and platform agnostic, with subsequent games continuing to set marks across every major platform, including ESPN, ION, and NBA TV. The financial commitment generated by Clark's mere presence is enormous, creating immense pressure on the league, the team, and even the opposing players. This dependency elevates the stakes of her on-court treatment from a simple basketball matter to a high-stakes financial risk. Analysts have noted that Clark's performances strategically fill a critical gap in the sports calendar. She steps into the void left when the NBA and NHL seasons conclude in late spring, a low-competition period where sports viewership typically dips. This unique timing positions the WNBA, and Clark specifically, as a crucial, necessary revenue generator, offering brands and advertisers a golden opportunity to capture massive amounts of revenue and attention during a quiet window. The impact extends far beyond the television screen. It is visceral, physical, and immediate in every arena across the country. The 2024 WNBA season witnessed a historic start in attendance, with nearly 400,000 fans attending games in May alone. This made it the highest attended opening month for the WNBA in 26 years. Every visiting arena saw unprecedented ticket sales and standing room-only crowds. Digitally, the data confirms a deep cultural resonance. The WNBA app experienced a staggering 613% increase in monthly active users. This proves that Clark is not driving passive viewing. She is driving persistent, longitudinal digital engagement and cultural relevance. The scale of these numbers, the millions of viewers, the hundreds of thousands of attendees, the explosive app growth, reinforces the core argument. Clark represents a massive systemic investment. Any hard foul that threatens her availability, that risks her health, or that sidelines her for any duration is by direct extension a tangible threat to the financial stability and unprecedented growth of the entire league. This creates a systemic pressure point. The existing league infrastructure, particularly its refereeing and disciplinary bodies, is struggling to adapt to the sudden explosive reality of managing a $100 million plus asset. This is the motive for the hostility. And this brings us to the controversy crucible. The prosperity generated by Clark has been thoroughly overshadowed by continuous, high-profile altercations, fueling the narrative that she is being unfairly targeted. The relentless pace of physicality she faced during the season is the central theme, highlighting the WNBA's profound struggle to manage the intensity that accompanies its newfound celebrity status. Several incidents captured media attention, shifting the focus from basketball performance to the critical issue of player safety. One notable exchange involved the Chicago Sky and Angel Reese. During this contest, Clark committed a hard foul on Reese in the paint, which officials correctly reviewed and upgraded to a flagrant foul penalty 1 point. This specific incident is critical because it demonstrates that Clark is not merely a passive victim, she is an active, aggressive participant in the league's intensity. However, the sustained outrage centers on the fouls committed against Clark that appear reckless, unnecessary, or disproportionate to the play. A separate, massive flashpoint involved Marina Mabrey and J.C. Sheldon. An incident where Sheldon made clear contact with Clark's eye or head resulted in immediate controversy and intense heat. This type of repeated aggressive contact, particularly to the vulnerable head area, ignited an immediate and sustained fan demand for proactive league intervention. The conflict often extends beyond Clark herself. Late in that very game, Fever teammate Sophie Cunningham, the same player who caddied for Clark at the Pro-Am, committed a retaliatory foul on Sheldon, leading to an end-of-game melee. This visceral reaction further solidified the narrative of the Fever team defensively rallying around their star player. But the greatest driver of audience retention, outrage, and public interest is the perceived inconsistency of officiating, the double standard of punishment. Fans, analysts, and even former players have widely criticized the WNBA referees for failing to adequately protect Clark, arguing the league should be doing a better job of policing its product and its greatest asset. The most frustrating, most galvanizing aspect for the audience involves the officiating decisions that penalized Clark for her reactions to contact. Following the sequence involving J.C. Sheldon and the contact to her head or eye, Clark was issued a technical foul for reacting in an unsportsmanlike manner towards Sheldon. She received a technical for her visible, justified frustration. The systemic rationale at play is that referees are more readily punishing the spectacle of the reaction, a visible emotional outburst, than they are consistently escalating the penalties for the initiating physical aggression. This creates a powerful, damaging perception that Clark is being penalized for her frustration, rather than being protected from the accumulating contact, further fueling the public belief that she is being unfairly treated and that the league is failing her. The gravity of the situation became so acute that it required intervention from the highest levels of the league. WNBA Commissioner Cathy Engelbert publicly addressed the persistent bullying controversy, acknowledging the increased intensity players face. Engelbert's statement noted that the widespread use of social media has heightened the conflict, especially since the league has brought tens of millions of more fans into the league. This statement is the ultimate confirmation. The commissioner herself explicitly links the massive economic growth directly to the intense, social media-driven scrutiny of the on-court conflict. The league administration implicitly confirms that its infrastructure, particularly its refereeing and disciplinary systems, is currently at an unprecedented crossroads, struggling to manage the cultural flashpoints generated by its sudden massive celebrity status. The system is lagging behind the phenomenon. The discussion surrounding Clark's treatment rapidly escalated from a WNBA matter into a full-fledged national sports discourse, primarily driven by prominent NBA analysts. This outside validation amplified the controversy, making the narrative completely unavoidable for mainstream sports fans who might otherwise ignore the league. This is the NBA male validation paradox. WNBA issues often receive maximum mainstream attention and legitimacy only after being validated by high-profile male NBA figures. The story achieved peak viral velocity when giants like LeBron James, Charles Barkley, and JJ Redick publicly commented on how Clark was being received by her WNBA peers. The most potent, provocative, and quotable statement, the ultimate controversy trigger, came from Charles Barkley. Barkley went straight for the throat, delivering an explosive verdict that called out the entire league. He explicitly stated that WNBA women were petty, and that their alleged hostility was inappropriate given the circumstances. He passionately argued, and this quote instantly became the soundbite of the season. "Y'all women out there, y'all petty man. Y'all should be thanking that girl for getting y'all ass private charters, all the money and visibility." Barkley's quote is the ultimate high retention trigger because it directly links the financial benefit, the private charters, the elevated salaries, the global visibility, to the alleged player behavior, which he labeled as petty hatred. He forced viewers and WNBA athletes to confront the perceived jealousy underlying the aggressive play. However, delivering an expert-level analysis requires acknowledging the nuance. Commentators suggested that Barkley may have misinterpreted the original comments made by LeBron James. LeBron was reportedly focusing on the unique, isolating pressure of being the #1 draft pick and living up to those high expectations, a pressure he personally faced, rather than making a direct accusation of jealousy against the entire WNBA roster. Acknowledging this difference is vital for delivering a deep, non-simplistic analysis, even if the aggressive Barkley narrative holds infinitely more viral power. Furthermore, Clark herself has demonstrated an awareness of the deeper cultural context surrounding her meteoric rise. In her interviews, particularly after being named Time Athlete of the Year, she discussed highly sensitive topics, including the challenges of being viewed as controversial, her rivalry with Angel Reese, and the critical issues of race and privilege. While the full details of these conversations are complex and deserve their own analysis, her acknowledgement proves that the debate surrounding her physicality transcends simple basketball tactics and delves into complex social and cultural dynamics regarding the transformation of a predominantly black league suddenly centered around a white superstar. The WNBA is not just managing a star, it is managing a cultural flashpoint. So here we stand at the end of the narrative. The star who spends her offseason laughing with teammates on the golf course and accidentally hitting fans with golf balls returns to a league determined to test her mettle, backed by money she generated and defined by controversy she can't escape. The golf course was calm. The WNBA court is a war zone. The star is backed by financial data, cultural recognition, and a supportive team, but she is relentlessly attacked by opponents and often seemingly let down by the very officials hired to protect the integrity of the game. The question remains, the fundamental question that sits at the center of this entire cultural moment: is Charles Barkley right? Are WNBA players petty, letting jealousy override the obvious financial benefit to the league? Or are the referees the real problem, the systemic failure point for not consistently protecting the league's most valuable $100 million+ asset? The answer, inevitably, is somewhere in the intersection of all three. But the debate, fueled by the data and driven by the aggression, continues to rage. Let us know in the comments below.